This episode of Industrial Talk is brought to you by RDI Technologies. RDI Technologies is the pioneer in motion amplification. Their proprietary technology enables users to see and measure motion impossible to the human eye and turning complex data into easy-to-understand videos to solve maintenance challenges quickly and safely. For more information, go to rditechnologies.com. Also, AI Dash. AI Dash is on a mission to create a greener, cleaner, safer planet from space. AI Dash helps core industries become more resilient, efficient, and sustainable through the power of satellites and AI. Go out to ai-dash.com. Find out more.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk. This is a platform that celebrates industry professionals all around the world because you're bold, brave, and you dare greatly, you innovate, and you are solving problems, making this world a better place. Thank you very much for what you do. And as you can tell, maybe if you can tell in the noise in the background, we are broadcasting on-site SMRP, the 30th annual event, and it is just full of, I don't know, maintenance and reliability professionals destined to solve your problems. And this is a event that you need to put on your doggone calendar if you are in the maintenance and reliability space. This is a must. SMRP, check it out. I think it's in October next year. Jeff Hay is in the house. He's in the hot seat. RDI Technologies, motion amplification. Let's get cracking. Yeah. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going, Scott?
Good. I like your tech. I do.
Thanks.
You know why? Because I'm a visual guy.
Yeah. Well, it turns out lots of people are, so.
No way. Yeah, it's true, you know. I look at I've always, in fact, just FYI, between you and me, I took your website and I sent it to my web guy, and I said, I you see how they got this header of this thing moving? I want something like that, not your tech, just sort of something like a header like that, so I'm stealing your stuff, sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Yeah, see, there it is, man. It's
a compliment.
No, I want to just come clean. I didn't want to just carry that baggage around. So you're here at SMRP. I'm sure you're talking and speaking and connecting.
Sure.
Give us a little indication of just let's take motion amplification. Let's start with that journey. What is it? Why? What compelled you to do it? And then let's see where we're going in the future. Give us a little background.
Yeah. So, we're RDI does motion amplification. It's camera-based vibration. So my background's in physics. I've always
because you're a doctor.
Yeah. I don't generally go by that title, but but yeah, and I actually started. I don't know if you know this. I started in astronomy, so that was going to be my my path forward. But using cameras. My background was always in cameras, and started doing research with measuring vibration and motion and. We started measuring the atmosphere and turbulence of stars, the way the air moves, and evolved into application-based research, and that led to one thing led to another, and then started a vibration company using cameras. So now we're almost 60 strong.
Yeah, see, and your growth has been pretty impressive. I've been watching you from a distance, been sort of not with a camera, but from my eyeballs. But so why is this the motion amplification? We talk about reliability, we talk about asset management, and we talk about this particular tool. Why? Why is it important?
Yeah, a couple of reasons, but one of the things that I think we focus on, and the camera kind of does so well.
So tiny.
It is tiny. Yeah. Sometimes I want to put it in a bigger box just so people feel like they're getting some more substantial, right? Put some weights in there.
Because I look at it going, really? Oh, well, okay.
Really what we're trying to do is enable the people to get the data that they need and get it quickly so they can make decisions. I think, we live in a world where we're inundated with data, right? More and more data. And sometimes the more data that you have, the harder it makes your life. And so what we are really interested in doing is providing the right data at the right time for people to make the right decisions. And that's for fixing their assets.
Is it also a factor of just, I mean, come on, I can see it. If the thing's moving, it's easy for me to say, that's not right. So there's a beauty in the simplicity of it, but then there's a tremendous amount of horsepower in that particular image. But for me personally, it's like, yeah, there's something going on there. Mm-hmm. So that's attractive. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm a company and I go down that road and I say, yep, I see the value, I see that important. Take me through this process of, okay, here, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to approach it. Take us through a process of how you would engage a client.
Yeah, so what we generally do for us is really enablement. So I think of the motion amplification technology as being equal part data analysis to equal part communication, because really you can have all the information in the world you need, but if you can't do something with it or take action, it really doesn't have a lot of value. So. For us, we sort of approach it in the process of twofold. One, getting the data, getting the analysis that you need done, understanding your assets, but also being able to communicate that across the organization. So, in the maintenance reliability space, not everybody's technical. We're all here for the same purpose, right? But not everybody understands the way that machines move, the way they're supposed to move, and what constitutes correctness in a machine. But when you show somebody the visualization, something that it's sort of a universal language, something's lifting up off the ground when it's supposed to be bolted down, it makes a lot more sense than showing a graph or a plot.
Is there once that happens, it's undeniable. I see it, it's moving,
can't unsee it, right?
You can't unsee it. It is just a fact. There has to be a call to action on that. It's like, okay, there's something going on there. With that said, where is that call to action from your platform, from that solution to the next step?
Yeah, usually once you get back, you look at the data, you can measure and quantify. So there's ISO standards, there's a whole host of information out there that sort of qualifies what is right or what is wrong. But the next step really is about, getting the data out and then educating the people that need to make the decisions about the corrective action that needs to take place. Sometimes it happens all in the matter of just minutes. We can go through with our camera and look at a piece of machinery that maybe someone already spent. We got a case study where this power generation company spent $120,000 and 500 man hours on a motor pump combination, and still didn't understand what was wrong with it. But when you put the camera on it, less than an hour, and they could just see they could see from there that the base was insufficient and it needed to be supported.
Yeah, there's a beauty in that. At least it takes a complex environment and at least directs the attention to the right area. It's not, you're just sort of not just looking at whatever that asset is. It's like, no, check here. Because it's sort of right there. So with that said, here, where's it going? Because your platform, the Team RDI, that technology has significantly changed over the years. Mm-hmm. It's better. It's whatever. Where do you see it going? What is it?
Yeah. So we've had a pretty even this past few months and the next few months are going to be. Pretty aggressive in terms of our product release. So we just released a 3D camera that uses two cameras. So you can see 3D. You can see depth with your eyes, right? You've got two eyes, and if you close one eye, you can see a slightly different view, right? And it's that difference in that view that gives you your depth perception. So it turns out when you put two cameras together. Before we would be able to measure up and down and right and left. That's what a camera can measure. But with two cameras, you can measure to and from the camera as well. So now you're actually getting a vibration reading from our cameras in 3 dimensions. So that was just recent.
I saw it out there. Did you have one set up?
We do have one set up.
I saw it. It's like a little double-barrel camera.
Yeah, 2 eyes.
And it's little, because the technique, it's just like a little camera. So what does that do? If I'm able to look at it in 3D, how does that improve my insights into that asset?
Well, before you'd have to take multiple measurements, in conjunction with one another, but now you're able to measure everything that you need to measure all at once. And that's advantageous because lots of times you only get one shot at it, especially if it's a transient, some event that's happened and you need, and that often happens. You need to be able to measure everything in one shot. So, or from one location. Sometimes you don't even have, you don't have access to the equipment, and so you have to you're fixed in where you can measure from. And that allows you to be able to measure, the entirety, all dimensions at once, and get a complete view of the machinery.
So, with that said, you're saying that it goes beyond it's visual, but from that visual, you're able to pull out the information. You're pulling data from that. You're saying I'm extracting that information from that 3D shot, and I'm pulling it into some analytic platform that says, all right, here you go. This is okay, whatever. It's creating sort of that knowledge base of being able to make decisions, right?
Yeah, that's right. So with our tool, there's the capability of trending the data as well. So you can go and measure the same point over the course of time, and in a lot of cases, it's the absolute measurement, that will tell you something's wrong. Say. It's moving at 0.1 inches per second or 0.3 inches per second, and that's too much. Other times it's trending. So it's one thing if the vibration readings are staying the same, but it's another thing if they're starting to rise. And often right before a catastrophic failure, that's sort of an exponential rise. It goes bad really fast, and you want to catch that change. And so. A lot of people know us for the motion amplification, but it's also important to know that we do something we refer to as full field vibration, where we can measure the entire field of view with quantifiable, data points. So you can draw a little box we call a region of interest, and it extracts a waveform out, and it's actually measuring the motion at that location.
How do you benchmark this? Let's say you're saying it's moving a certain amount. That's bad. How do you know that's bad? So there's got to be some sort of benchmark or history associated with that data that gives you the indication that that's trending in the wrong direction, or how do you know that that's not normal?
Yeah, in some cases there's ISO standards. So for certain equipment of certain horsepower, there's an ISO standard that says this is there's severity charts that say this is the allowable vibration for this, and then some organizations have their own. Some have created their own in terms of the benchmark. But then of course beyond that, it is truly the trending that you watch.
Do you backload the data? Do you say, okay, I'm looking at this fan, this motor, this pump, whatever it is, I'm looking at it. It's a specific type, and I have some data and information on it. I load it into the platform, the series, and then create that trend on out. How do you? Yeah.
So we in our tool we actually have a trending software. So it just sucks the data right in. It's hooked to an asset, and then it will plot that for you. Other times, if it's being trended by another tool and that's already in some other database, then if that starts trending in the wrong directions, maybe that's when they pull our tool out and say, hey, what's going on? Because our tool is very powerful at getting at root cause very quickly. So if you ever suspect,
key.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you want to compress that time as fast as possible. If you don't want to have a catastrophic failure because you're lollygagging out there and you're just not getting the information quick enough or fast enough.
Yeah,
to make those decisions.
And to be honest, we really try to push it beyond just waiting to catch a fault. So when you have a piece of equipment, we would prefer that the fault never make it into your facility in the first place. So you want to catch it at design or you want to catch it at installation or commissioning, And then we also, the industrial portion is part of our business. We also sell to what we've referred to as test and measurement, and that's really where products are being designed in the design stage. And ultimately, if you can catch, say, a resonance in a product before it makes it into the final design, then the fault never gets introduced into the product in the first place. The next best thing is installation and commissioning, because the fault at that point never gets introduced into the facility.
Yeah, you're focused on precision, the installation and the precision of that piece of equipment, and that has tremendous benefits to the organization. If I'm installing it properly, if I'm capturing that asset at the beginning and making sure that that's precise, and then I install it and that's precise as much as I can, which, given today's technology, you should be fine. Then you're assuring that longevity, that asset to be available, and if you see any trends that are happening, you're saying, hey, there's something going on there. It doesn't have to be catastrophic. It's just like something's going on there. Go out, figure it out.
Yeah, and the earlier you catch that, obviously, the more time you have to prep for and plan and do the maintenance.
What's happening in the future? Where do you see it going? I mean, you haven't achieved your zenith yet. There's still a lot going on, right?
We do. I don't know if you've been by our booth. You see our robot dog Spot.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. We've been working on a payload for Boston Dynamics robot Spot, and this will be fully autonomous, route-based data collection with motion amplification. So, this complete vibration, monitoring with a camera, where the dog will wake up, walk a route, know exactly where the assets are. You let it know, in the beginning what assets you want monitored and what locations, and then we do the rest. Our software will, the camera will pan and tilt and focus, right on the asset, and then make the measurements that you need at the locations you need, and then do that on a regular basis. Or you could have it go out on demand and say, hey, do a troubleshooting on this asset. Go take a collection around this asset. And so in that sense, you get a complete picture of your facility and automate that process, and you can do it all non-contact with our camera.
It sounds to me that solution, what you just articulated, allows you to do more with less. It's like you've just automated that route, and you can, and once again, with that automation, with that solution, you're compressing the time, identifying challenges, calling into action how to resolve the problem, and so on. Is that really the thought behind all that?
Yeah, it is. And, one of the things, too, if you back up, outside of Spot, one in terms of that time compression, the way I see the assets in your facility, I think about a triangle, and the tip of the triangle, the height of the triangle is related to how valuable your asset is. And so at the top, there's just a small set, right? That little tip is small. And then as you go further down that triangle, the number of assets that you have increases, right? So you have a lot of lower cost assets. And somewhere there's a line that gets drawn in that across that triangle that says anything above this, we can afford to do advanced analysis on because the asset is that valuable.
Asset criticality.
Exactly.
It's your rating.
Right. And we want to push it lower on the criticality. We want to be able to say, okay, if you can only spend half a day on an asset, that's one thing, but what if you could spend 20 minutes on an asset and do advanced analysis? So with motion amplification, that's possible. So lower on the criticality, bring more assets into the advanced analysis so that you're looking more holistically at a larger set of assets. And Spot allows that too. So now we can go and increase the amount of assets we can look at in a much more sophisticated way. It's not just a single point trending. We're really looking at the entire asset in context.
Yeah, I've been a part of asset criticality conversations, and people will die on hills on the, no, that motor's important and that, that's with, but that just sort of with that solution and you're pushing that, you're increasing the ability to be able to see more assets. You still have to have those conversations. You're still sort of, yeah, that's sort of important. That's okay. But that gives you the flexibility to do more, see more, and really direct the resources where they need to be. I like that.
That's right. And you know, if you have another sort of data point that says there's an issue in your facility, instead of having to, issue a work order and get manpower to go out and figure this out, Spot can just wake up, walk out, collect the data, and then over coffee the next morning, you've identified a fault, you've done advanced analysis on the fault, and you have all the information ready for you right there to look at.
I kind of like that. That's pretty cool.
We hope so. We hope so.
It's cool.
We hope so.
Every time I go to a conference and I see Boston Dynamics Spot, there's always a trail of people behind it.
We did,
because it's cool.
We did a outreach to a middle school and had the robot there with the kids. They treated it like they were petting it, treated just like it's awesome.
I'm waiting for the laser beams on the forehead. That's what's going to happen. No, that's cool stuff, man. That whole payload concept, that 3D. I don't know, man. I'm giddy. How do they get a hold of you?
We're excited. Yeah, go www.rditechnologies.com. Check out. We have a YouTube page with hundreds of videos.
Which they are good.
They're fun.
They're fun. I don't know.
Pull the chair and watch the motion amplification.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds sad, but I do like it. Like I'm watching and going, check that out. I like the one set to the next, right? Yeah. You got the normal view, which my eyes can see, and then the one that's amplified.
We have this nice scanning technique loaded into our software. Yeah.
All right. You're awesome. As always, Jeff, you're awesome. I remember when you were just a little pup doing this stuff. All right. Once again, we're broadcasting from SMRP, the 30th Annual Conference. Too many conversations. Here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And again, check out RDI Technologies. It'll all be out on industrialtalk.com. That's a must attend or must connect type of thing. All right. We're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk and for your support. A hearty thank you to Jeff Hay, Team RDI Technologies, Motion Amplification. Go out to rditechnologies.com. Look at those videos. Very cool. Very just impressive technology. Go out to rditechnologies.com. All right, I've been talking about building an ever-expanding industrial ecosystem of problem solvers. We truly have a passion for your success, and we'll do whatever is necessary to make that happen. Amplify your message. Be a part of this ever-expanding ecosystem. Get your message out. It is important, especially today. So go out to industrialtalk.com, reach out, find out more. It's a lot of fun, but I'm telling you, you and your company are the heroes in this story, because we really need you to succeed. We really need you to do what you do best, because communities, people, the world is depending on you. It sounds hyperbole, but it's not. It is important, and what you do is important. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with people like Jeff, and you will change the world. We're going to have another great conversation coming from SMRP, the 30th Annual Conference, shortly, so stay tuned. We will be right back.